All right, you guys. Hello, and welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Ladybird Live on Facebook. You guys see this beautiful lady here, Sequoia Watson. She is ready for you guys. Listen, I am excited and I cannot wait for you guys to learn more about her. So if you're new to watching Ladybird Live on Facebook, let me tell you. Last season, what I did, I said, let me reach out to a couple people I know, people who are diagnosed with HIV, people who are not, people who've experienced it, different things like that. I wanted to reach out to people so that they can share to you guys their experiences and what they've dealt with through this whole 40-something years of this virus. And so we talked with my brother Javon Martin, who actually worked in the first AIDS hospital in New York at the time in the 80s. We talked to my girl Dawn, who is someone who's been diagnosed. She shared her story that people actually that her story took off. Like, people were so interested in her journey. We talked to my friend Raquel McCrae, who's married to someone who has been positive for many, many years, who actually was given an AIDS diagnosis at one point and is still here. And so I wanted to continue this. This is going to be a yearly thing. So you are with me for the next 7 weeks, okay? This is week 2. Last week, I did talk to my friend Dave Tolliver of the R&B group Men at Large. We just kind of had a really intimate thing. It wasn't fancy. We didn't do all this stuff here. But we talked about things of how he saw the HIV virus in the beginning of the whole touring thing, how people realized when Magic Johnson got his diagnosis, sometimes people did care, sometimes they still really didn't care. We talked about that, being someone who tours and was a music artist at the time. You got groupies and that kind of thing. So we dove into that a little bit. But this week, we are really finna get into some real, listen, y'all about to learn some stuff. You're going to learn who Sequoia is and everything that she has going on. So really quickly, I want to let you guys know that we are streaming on multiple platforms. So make sure that you guys are sharing. Hello, share. Okay, sharing means caring. We're streaming on Facebook Live. We're also streaming live on X, aka Twitter, and we are streaming live on YouTube. And I'm on Chatter. I'll talk about Chatter a little bit later, but right now, a little bit about Sequoia. She is a runway model and model instructor, dancer, and a choreographer. Listen, she might have to teach me some stuff because I'm a little old and I done got out of touch. I'll be around here running man and this stuff. Can't do that now. Okay. She's also a brand ambassador, an author, and a motivational speaker, you guys. She is getting ready to launch. I don't know if she's launched. I'm gonna let her tell you, but I know as I was learning about her, she was getting ready to, or might have already launched, a nonprofit called Unsilenced Survivors. And spring of 2025, she is going to be having a stage play titled the same thing that we have this interview titled as, I Cried, But I Didn't Quit. And I want her to come on here right now, and I want her to really talk to you guys about her story and her journey and tell you guys what made her cry and what has not made her quit and why she is still going. So go ahead and unmute and just tell everybody about yourself. And let's get into it. And I'm going to be taking some notes because we're going to have questions. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. And you can ask questions in the chat. If I see people ask questions, I'm going to jot some things down. But let's get this going.
Woo! That was a lot. So as my friend said, everyone, I am Sequoia Watson. Excuse my voice a little bit because I'm also a teacher. I teach 6th grade social studies. So yeah. So just a little bit about my journey on why I tried, but I didn't quit. So 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with HIV. The guy that I was dating at the time, we were dating for like a year. He actually made a choice for me, gave it to me, and did not tell me. So I'm gonna back up a little bit and let you know how it came about. It was around 2020 when COVID was going on. And I ended up getting COVID at the time. And I was also virtual teaching at the time. So I was working with special education. So imagine kind of like trying to go through COVID and teach online at the same time. It was a lot. So long story short, I ended up, getting well, getting better from COVID. And a little bit like maybe a week or so later, he ended up getting sick. Now his sick was a bit different and a bit more severe than mine. I just mostly experienced the being hot and being cold at times, kind of like, vomiting or whatever. And that was really how I dealt with it. I felt like I really had the flu. But in his case, which like I said, I thought that he had ended up getting COVID as well. In his case, it got worse. It got worse to the point where he started losing weight. He became so small that his clothes began to be very big and baggy on him. He even couldn't make it to the bathroom. He would kind of like have to hold the wall as he walked to the restroom and use the bathroom. He would be in there countless of hours and minutes. It was to the point where it was so scary that we weren't sleeping in the bed together anymore. He was sleeping on the couch. I would wake up in the middle of the night because I was so scared because I thought that something was so wrong, but I didn't know what. And I was going in there checking to make sure he was breathing, checking sure to make sure he hadn't died on me because I didn't know. So like 2 weeks had passed. No one knew what was going on. I hadn't told no one but my mom as far as how sick he was. And, me being the typical woman, being the typical girlfriend, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take care of my man. I was at Walgreens. I was at CVS. I was at Walmart. I was getting whatever medicine I could think of that would help him get well, but nothing was working. It got to a point where I was asking him, hey, I need to take you to the doctor. Do I need to take you to the hospital? My mama even offered. And it never clicked and never hit in my mind on why he was never wanting us to, initiate and give the help. It was always a pushback. And I just was like, but I don't understand. Like, I'm here. I'm trying to help. But I guess, in the long run, I found out why he didn't want the help. So 2 weeks had passed and he got real sick. And I just kind of like got to the point where I started like literally losing my mind because it was so much on me. I was overwhelmed. Here I am, 30 some years old. I'm trying to deal with this, deal with teaching, deal with myself as well and my emotions. It just was a lot. So I picked up the phone one day, called his mom. Hey, do you know so-and-so is sick and he's been here, for the past 2 weeks. I don't know what's really going on. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And, for her, she's like, yeah, we talked. He told me he was sick, but not that sick. And I'm going, like, your son is over here almost dying on his deathbed, like on my couch. Like, that's how bad it is. Somebody got to come get him because he doesn't want my help. I can't get him at the house to take him to get no help. So she ended up calling his dad. Dad ended up calling me maybe like an hour later. He was like, I'm getting off work. I'm going to head over. Give me your address. Blase, blase. I'm like, okay, cool. Dad gets to my house about 2 hours later. Comes in. I go out. Actually, I'm sorry. I go outside to meet him. And I say, look, when you go into my home, you're not going to recognize your son because he's severely sick. I don't know, I don't know if I should feel guilty. I don't know if I should feel ashamed. I don't know what to do because I'm all over the place. So dad is like, okay, well, let me go in, let me see what's going on. And, maybe I got to get him to a hospital. I'm like, yeah. So he goes in, he looks at him. His son is like slumped over my couch, like, looked like he was dead. And he goes over, he's like, son, get up. I got to get you to the doctor. I got to get you to the hospital. Something's wrong. Something's severely wrong. I need you to get up, son. So he got him up. And at that time, he tells his dad, could you step outside with me? Now, in my mind, I'm not thinking anything. I'm thinking, okay, let me get some gloves on. Let me sanitize and disinfect my home because I don't know what's wrong. If he do got COVID, I don't want it again or whatever it is. I just never thought it would have been that. So I'm in the living room. I'm scrubbing. I'm like cleanup woman. So, I'm doing what I'm doing and I can't kind of hear what the conversation is about because at that time I was living downstairs in my apartments. So I can kind of hear things that were going on close to my patio. So at the time that I'm doing this, it's quiet in my home. So I can hear them talking, but I couldn't hear what. And then I heard the dad say, did you tell her? And the son was like, I guess the son said no. And the dad said, she needs to know. Why didn't you tell her? That's not fair to her. And again, I didn't know what he was talking about. So, came back in the house. He got him in the bathroom, cleaned himself up. The daddy's looking at me like he wants to tell me something, but he can't say it. So he's like, I got to get him to the doctor. I got to get him to the hospital. I got to. It's, and I'll call you when I get there. And I'm like, okay, okay. Whatever it is, I'm hoping everything is okay. So he gets him to the hospital. And at this point, I'm going on about my day. I'm going on about my day, Bird. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm thinking, okay, daddy got him. He going to let me know what's going on. Let me go get my nails done. Let me go on about my day. Yeah. 2 hours later, me going on about my day turned to a nightmare. So I'm driving. The dad calls. He doesn't know I'm in the car. He doesn't know I'm driving. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, Sequoia, I just wanted to call you and let you know I got him safely to the hospital. He's at so-and-so, so-and-so. And, I can't go in due to COVID. So I thought, I'm going to sit outside and wait till they admit him. But I just could not call you and let you know what's really going on. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you called to let me know. So at this point, the dad is like, I need you to sit down. If you're not sitting down, can you sit down? I'm driving, let me just pull off the nearest exit, cause what's going on? So I get off the nearest exit. I pull into a gas station. Hey, okay, I'm sitting. What's going on? So he's like, has my son ever told you he's been in the hospital before? I'm dating this man for a year. So, I know as years go on that you are going to keep learning about a person, no matter how many years you've been talking. But for me, within that 1 year, the basics a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah. He said it was for alcohol poisoning. The dad is like, no, that was part of it. I'm going, okay, so what's the other part? What am I missing? What have I been left out on? Because I thought that I knew everything that I need to know as far as in a year. I still got things that I need to learn about him, but what do you mean? That's part. And that's when he broke the news to me. My son has HIV, and my son has had it since 2008. You know me, it never hit. It didn't click. Right. It didn't click. So it's 2020. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm going. I'm trying to make light of the situation, bird. So I end up saying, no, 2018. He said, no, 2008. Wow. I didn't know what to do with that.
Hold on,
So
listen, hold up. I don't even want to pause you, but listen. Now that's the part I didn't know. So I purposely didn't hear some of your story because I wanted to get that shock value of baby 2008 and it's 2020. Are you
yes, ma'am.
okay? Continue, because listen, I'm over here. I almost threw this notepad across this room. Okay. Oh my god. Okay,
2008.
go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So as at this moment, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to wrap my mind around. I can't. What did I just hear? Did I actually hear? Is this a dream? Is this a joke? Like, let's be for real here. So the dad goes, I'm never one to get into my son's personal affair, his relationships or his business of that sort. But I've always told my son, or tried to teach or taught my son, to be honest and to be open and to tell the truth. Um, but in this moment, I could not do that. I could not let things go on and you did not know really what's going on. And I hate to be the person and bear bad news, but the best advice I can give you now is to go get tested. That's all he had for me. So in that moment, once I hung up the phone, that's when I lost it. It clicked in, and I was just like, I did hear what I heard. Like what? So I called my mom, and I just screamed. I just screamed until I couldn't scream anymore. I was punching the steering wheel, rocking back and forth, taking my hair, doing all of this, hitting the window. I lost it. I completely lost it. And my mom, like I tell everybody, is one of the most strongest women in our family. My mom has lost all her sisters to breast cancer or cancer of that sort, and brothers. She has one sister left and one brother left. And when I tell you, my mom is the toughest and the strongest. And to hear that, her baby girl, is four of us, but I'm the baby. To hear someone had done something like that to me, it broke her completely. And I've never really seen my mom cry. And it just broke her. So, a day or two went by, and I ended up setting an appointment to get the test done. I went in on, I want to say it was a Tuesday, and I had them prayed from the time that I found out, and I was back at home trying to get it together, but really couldn't, up until the time it was time for me to go get the blood work done. And in my mind, I'm like, well, he got so sick and so severely sick, and he was losing weight, and he was this and he was that. But if I had it, I would be looking like him. And not saying I wasn't educated on what the things that happen or progress when you are dealing with HIV. And I'm just, yeah, I look like him. I should be sick like that. I've been talking to him for a year. So yeah. But when I went in and did the blood work and came back and got the call to come back, when the blood work test results came back, and the lady looked at me when she came into the room, and she was holding the laptop like this, and she was scooting the shirt up to me like this, I knew then. I didn't even want to hear her say it, but I didn't. I couldn't look at her mouth to say, Ms. Watson, unfortunately, you're HIV positive. Like, how do you sit in a doctor like that and you hear that phrase or those words? And I never asked for it. So once she was about to say it, I stopped her. And I said, no, ma'am, I can't hear you say that. And she left out. And I said, could you step out? Because I need to call my mom. Because I was already getting choked up. I was about to lose it. And she stepped out. And I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I know what that lady about to tell me, and I cannot hear her say those words to me. I'm about to lose it. And if it wasn't for my mama saying to me, swallow your pride, take a deep breath, and when she come back in there, you ask her what's your next steps. Had my mama not said that to me, I would have tore that whole doctor office up. I would have tore it up. And the moment that she came back in there, I was smiling. I was cheesing from ear to ear. And the lady was like, you okay, Miss Watson? And I was like, are you okay? And she said, I never had a patient to come in here and do something like that. You smiling. I never had one of my patients. I deal with a lot of patients. They go through this or has went through this. And you are smiling. And I say, I'm not everybody. I said, so before we leave out of here today, I don't know how many more patients you got today, but I got questions. Because in my mind, I knew I want to live. And I knew that we're not in old times. We're not in the old days where they don't have all type of things and medicines to make sure that it fights the infection. I knew for sure that whatever you got for me, whether I got to get a shot or take a pill or whatever it is, I need for you to talk me through this, lady, and tell me what I need to do. Because if I let that sucker think he done won over me and got me, it's not gonna happen. Now, granted, you did a foul move, the worst of the worst that you could ever have done to anybody. But I ain't never gonna let you get the upper hand. You won't get the last say so or the last word within this situation. I refuse to let you do that. So moving forward, I'm going to be honest. I went through a real bad depression. It was bad. I shut the world out. Friends, family, my business, modeling, dancing, everything. I just closed it. I just threw it all away. And I just was like, I'm too embarrassed. I'm too ashamed. I don't know who or what to trust at this point. I don't know what someone is going to think of me, what the questions are going to be asked, who's going to point fingers, who's going to think the worst of me. All that is going through my mind, even though I know I didn't ask for it. I didn't do anything. But to know that all of this was going through my mind, I was just like, oh yeah, forget the world. I don't want to be around anybody. If it's not my mom I'm talking to or my doctor to make sure that I'm A1, and they had prescribed me a therapist, or my therapist, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't trust a soul at this point. Like, completely. I end up moving, and once I moved, that's when I shut everything out. I felt every night I was crying. Every night I was all over the place. I never slept. Emotions all over the place. My mind was racing, my heart pacing, beating fast, don't know what to do, where to go, who to talk to. Didn't really could get into the moment of really trusting the therapist because I'm just getting to know her. So I got to be open and honest with a whole new person. So I'm folded up in my bed every night, rocking, paranoid, looking, don't know what to do. I'm crying. The walls feel like they closing in on me. Yeah, I was a mess. I was a complete mess. I got a detective calling me because now that they found out that he has done this, now do I want to press charges? Because now this is like attempted murder. So now I got questions coming from a detective, deep questions. And when I tell y'all deep, they deep. He's asking things that I'm like, I wouldn't dare tell my mama that I did that. Like, but they have to do it. So imagine I have to, again, talk to a whole nother stranger. Even though it's confidentiality, I still got to be open with this man. So now I'm having to be open and honest with this man and saying things sexually that we have done. Like, it was just a whole lot. So in that moment, I just was like, this is too much. This is a lot. So my mom ended up talking to me because once the detective asked me if I wanted to press charges or not, I actually didn't even have an answer. I was just stuck. I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Because in the moment that he's asking questions, now he's asking for a name. He's asking for an address. It's a whole lot. They don't know, and what people don't know is when someone does something like this to you, they can still pull you up in a database. They pulled him up and found his name, and not only found out that he had done it to me, he had done it to others. See, this is the part that I don't talk about. I wasn't the only one. So imagine I'm trying to start healing or trying to figure this out, but at the same time, I can't because now I found out there's more. I don't. So in that situation, what am I to do? Do I want the news in my face? Do I want social media down my back? Do I want all these messages, text messages, calls, questions? What do I do? So my mom ended up saying, God has a way of taking care of his children. And you a child of God, and he don't play about his kids. And for somebody to have done something like that to you, you don't have to worry about doing anything legally because he gonna get his. God gonna make sure that. It may happen now, it may happen later, it may happen years from now, but he got it. I had to trust it. I had to bow all of my emotions inside of me and trust it. I wanted to kill him. You know how many times I contemplated sitting in my home with a pistol ready to go out and just let it rip. Because I didn't deserve it. I wanted to pull up to his home, let it rip. My mama, my therapist, and God, I'm telling you, that was the only way that I am able to be where I am today. When I tell you I'm past strong, that battle was more than tough. I tell people all the time, you couldn't imagine trying to walk into some shoes like mine. For real, for real. So
Listen, I'm over here. I'm like, is she talking about me over here? I'm sitting here listening to you tell your story. I'm like, wait a minute. Is she talking about me? Because it's so much stuff in your story that has correlated with the same stuff I went through. And I think people really don't realize that this is stuff that's really happening.
it's really happening.
Like people listening, if y'all know people that follow me, you know my story. You sitting here listening to Sequoia tell her story. The similarities and how the seats, the family members knowing stuff and they ain't opening their mouths to the
Ain't
very
told me
last
a
minute.
soul.
Ain't saying
I done been
nothing.
to Thanksgiving. I done been to Christmas. I done been to
What you
right?
say? Everything. And they just ain't opening their mouths. And this is the reality of what people are dealing with. The
This is what's
same
going
thing
on.
she just said. Girl, listen, you know how many times I was ready to take that man up out of here? I was ready to take that man clean up out of here. The emotions that we deal with doing this. Because you trust in somebody. You having the faith that not only are they not cheating on you, but they being truthful with you. That's that simple. And then the fact that he was out here doing it to other people. Baby, that database ain't no joke. Y'all think it's a game out here. You really got to go get these people tested.
He's in there. He's in there. I couldn't believe it. I said, wait a minute. You said what? My
Right.
biggest thing also was I kept thinking was, you got a daughter.
Whew.
Does that make
Got a
it
daughter and you
okay
out here doing this to
if
other women?
somebody?
Ain't that
So for me, I'm thinking you're making this okay for somebody to do this to your daughter because hell, you're doing it. You don't care.
right?
You ain't got no remorse. Nothing.
Not
So is
none.
that okay?
Mm,
Like, come on
that's
now.
crazy. Yeah,
And
that's
I
crazy.
never. The one thing that I remember having a conversation with him about when we started getting serious, I said, I looked him in his eyes and I didn't even blink. And I said, would you ever lie to me? Like, don't ever lie to me. That's the worst you can do. Because number one, I had already been through a DV. I had went through a DV from my high school, senior year in high school to my sophomore year in college. And I had already got in another relationship after that. And he had, and the dude, my ex had, and my other ex had a baby on me. So my trust was
Mm,
already like this,
right. Yeah.
all over the
Everywhere.
place. So now that you come in, you giving me Prince Charming. You giving me the world. Bro, when I tell you I never asked for nothing, was giving me everything. Knocking at my door every morning
Mm.
before I go to work. I got the dogs. I'm gonna take your dogs out. Here go your favorite wine. Here go another bouquet of flowers. Here go some
Ooh,
roses. Tomorrow here go
child.
some tulips. Tomorrow here go some daisies. Oh, I never wanted for anything. I didn't ask for none of that.
Right.
And he was just reeling in. Just reeling in. Who wouldn't want to be treated like a princess or queen or whatnot? But you didn't think, you're not thinking in your mind that is all this for show?
Right. Mm-mm.
So you can F me over? What did I do? Now, granted, I can tell you, I've made mistakes in my life. Ain't nobody perfect. But I've
Right.
never done somebody like that. That's the most dirtiest of the
Yeah,
dirty.
I
Like,
feel like
you
that's
can't
like
get,
the ultimate. Ooh.
that's the ultimate.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
It's
he
the
played.
ultimate.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let me ask you this. So when like that's crazy. So I know you said his mom. So his mom didn't know. The dad knew,
The mom knew.
and
Once,
the mom
once
knew
I
too. And
got,
the mom just
every time I tell my story, I always add more in that people don't know. Once I like to keep people on their toes in suspense
yeah,
because people say
yeah.
all the time, every time I listen to your story, you give me something different that I didn't know. That's why I continue. I love when people say, I want to interview
Right,
you on, I want to keep giving another detail that have you on your toes. So when I found out, I did call the dad. Called the dad probably like a day or so, a couple days later, to let him know what my results was. All he
right.
could do was apologize. That's it. He was trying to apologize for his son. He was trying to apologize on his behalf. I hung up. I didn't want to hear it because you guys knew.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess he must have passed the word on to the mom, and the mom was texting and calling me almost every day, crying, apologizing to me. So you knew too.
Like, girl, I don't even want to talk to you. What you calling, texting me for, ma'am? Hello? No, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's that guilt because they
See?
knew they had ample opportunity. The
Mm-hmm.
guilt. Look, that's that karma though. What you just said. Listen, you ain't got to do nothing. It's gonna all work itself out. Not just for him, but for anybody else.
Right. And I've never been one to wish bad or any negativity on nobody. Whatever God end up doing in his way to show you or punish you or whatever, I let him do it. But I ain't sitting around here praying on your downfall, or I'm saying, God, do it for me and get that boy. I ain't doing all that.
Right, right.
I'm not doing all that because however God gonna do it, however God handles it, He gonna handle it.
Oh
So
yeah.
I know a lot of people ask me, did I ever get an apology? I never got it.
We don't
Four
never
years
get no
later.
apology. Ain't-
4 years
Girl,
later. To this day,
Don't
I
hold your
never
breath.
got it.
'Cause look, yeah.
And I tell people, I don't even want it.
Mm-mm.
I don't even want it. It's okay.
Right. What about
Because
okay? So what about the forgiveness part of it? Because I get asked that a lot
um
too. So how do you
so
deal with that part, the forgiveness of the whole situation?
so there was a moment that I'm sorry, I'm gonna answer Tamala's question first. Did I mean to say that before I said
Yeah.
yes, I did. I did. We were locked. We were locked. The daughter was like my stepdaughter. We were locked. For sure. Um, the moment that I kind of started taking my life back, I ended up waking up. I ended up getting out the bed one night. It was probably like 9 o'clock, something like that. And I went into my closet. My closet is a walk-in closet, and I took my phone in there with me, and I turned my title music on gospel. I got on my knees and I just started crying. And I was in there crying for like an hour straight, like 45 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
Cried so long and cried for so much and nothing else would come out. And this song called Why Not Me came on.
Mm.
And you said my name right. Oh my God, tell me it's funny. I don't know. I think that's right. Um, um, and a song called Why Not Me by Tasha Lockhart came on. I had never heard of it. And
Mm.
let me tell you how God comes in so many mysterious ways. I don't even remember putting the song on repeat. When the song went off the first time, it replayed.
Mm.
And by that time, I had already been like, wait
Right.
a minute, like, what? And the song was called Why
Just
Not
kept
Me?
going. Mm-hmm.
And I let the song play at least 3 times. And I was letting them words sit right up in here. And because I remember the first verse is like, when I look in the mirror, I see a girl beautifully broken, perfectly flawed.
Mm.
I don't even know how I made it this far.
Ooh.
And I'm asking myself questions like, why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? Then I said, you can get through it. You just have to believe. What I do now, I got to make it all count. So why not me?
Ooh,
It just like,
yes.
I just was like, what? Because I kept on every day. But I'm telling you, every day I was like, I was praying to God, but I was questioning him. That's how I
Right.
knew.
And he was letting you know,
knew
listen, you ain't got to question me no more. Here you go.
He was like, yeah, it was in that moment. Because I kept on saying,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why. What I do? What I do?
Yeah.
I was getting to the point where I started blaming myself. I did this. I didn't do this right. What happened? Was I supposed to have this? You sure? Like,
Mm.
that's how bad it was. And so that song
Right.
came out. And I just was
Mm-hmm.
like, why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me. It won't kill me. I'll move on. I was like, wait 1 minute. And in that moment, after I had done cried again and listened to that song for like the third time, I ended up just looking up and I just ended up saying, God, I got to take my life back. I got to. I was like, there's no way I want to continue my life like this. Broken, sad, hurt, disappointed, ashamed, embarrassed. I ain't want none of that on my back. I didn't want none of that burden on my back anymore. And at that moment, I said, I got to take it back. I got to. I have to show him that you thought you did something, but you really didn't. You thought you took my soul. You thought you took my mind. You thought you took, like, I got to show you. I'm bigger than that. I'm better than that. So I got up and I got out that closet, and it just was like a breath of fresh air. And I just was like, tomorrow, I got this. Watch what I'm finna do. I just started going haywire. like the modeling, getting back in the studio, getting back to coaching. It was everything. And every day I ended up getting on Facebook and I kept on making posts. And I would keep saying, I got this and I got this and I got that. And I would always say, yeah, when I start telling this story, y'all gonna want to know why. Y'all gonna understand why that girl kept going so hard, why that girl kept being so busy. Had it not been for me being in that closet and crying out like I did, I don't know how I would have forgave. I never forget. But in order for me to have to continue my journey and doing what I've been doing and what God blessed me to keep doing with these talents and these opportunities and these doors they keep opening, I had to forgive. That's why I said, if he ever came to my face right now and tried to apologize, I'm good. Because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You see all this that's going on? You see all this glow
Right.
and this
Yes.
growth? Yeah.
Yes.
I got you
Mm-hmm.
mad. I got you literally pissed off. So that's fine. So I don't want the apology. I don't need it.
Yep. Look, and you just
So in
answered
that
Katrina's
moment,
question too. Katrina said, "How if you ran across him since you found out, and if you did, what would you do?"
no,
None.
no. I don't want to do anything. I don't want a conversation. I might just be so bougie with it and just smile at him. You thought you did something, didn't you? You know,
Yes.
you see what's going on? Like, check me out. I'm on websites. I'm on
Right.
billboards. I'm doing movies. I'm doing play. Check me out. I'm getting my
Right.
story out there.
Yes.
I'm not the embarrassment. You are. I'm not ashamed. You should be. So if I ever, like I said, if I ever did, I don't want anything. I don't want to talk at all. So from that's where the forgiveness came. That's where my healing started coming in. And I started my journey on getting back to Sequoia. I didn't come out and tell my story until I think it was November of 21. That is when I had a friend that reached out to me. She said, I keep seeing that I don't know, Lenora. I have no idea. I don't speak to any of them. I don't know any of them, so I don't know. So I had a friend that reached out to me that was doing an event called a Praise and Brunch. She ended up inboxing me and reached out and said that God has sent her to call me and to contact me because she had been seeing my post about me telling everyone about when y'all hear my story, you'll understand why I've been going so hard. And she said, I don't know your story, Sequoia, but I know you said that you will attend my praise and brunch event, but I don't want you to just attend it. I want you to speak at it. I want you to tell your story. That's how I came out and I told my story for the first time. My mom was against it at first. This is the part I don't tell people. My mom was against it at first because one thing about it, y'all know a mama's love is just it hit different. Um, she was mostly thinking about, and I'm not gonna say mom is selfish because my mama has never been a selfish person. But in that moment, because I am her child, I'm her baby in her eyes, her mind immediately went to thinking of self, and she didn't want no embarrassment. She didn't want no fingers pointing. She didn't want no questions and all of this stuff here. So it took one of my cousins to actually have a conversation with her and tell her, you know, this is her story, right? It's not yours. You know that God has chosen her to do this, to be this platform, to get her story out there so that she can help someone else. She has to be obedient to his word. She can't disappoint him. So it may seem like that's not what you want, but it's not about you. So that is something that I had to get my mama to understand, and my cousin had to get her to understand that you got to look at the bigger picture of this. You don't know what this outcome could be, what could transpire from this, with her getting her story out. And me getting my story out landed me doing a book, which I didn't never thought I was gonna do that. Because I ain't never thought about writing a book. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was like, what? Book? That's a lot of work. I gotta sit down and write. So yeah, no. So I ended up writing a book. It's called Poppin' and Pump's Resilience Journal. So it just breaks down the acronym of the word resilience, breaks down each letter. And it just basically expresses and talks about my story, but it has questions and thoughts and ideas in the book for you to jot down and write and come out and tell your story within my book to help you start your healing journey. So that's my purpose. That's why I tell my story.
Ooh.
That's why I push to be an advocate, because one, we're not communicating enough. Now, granted, I get it. In the beginning, it is something to be ashamed and be embarrassed about. This is something that it don't happen overnight for you to tell the world. Everybody's not Sequoia.
Right, yeah.
So it may not be for you to tell the world. It may not be for you to go and tell 2, 3, 4 people. You may only want to keep it with God and just you. But what I have to tell you is you don't want to do that too long, because there's a real deal with being depressed. There's a real deal with having anxiety. There's a real deal of having suicidal thoughts. It's too much of that going on as it is. That's not what we don't want to continue a trend that doesn't have to be continued, because all it takes is for you to tell one person, and you got to change their life and change your life in the mix of it.
Exactly.
So please don't be afraid to communicate and talk with somebody. A lot of us as African Americans think that it's no purpose in what's the purpose of getting a therapist. We think the first thing about somebody saying get a therapist is something wrong.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I'm crazy. That's why we need to read. Ain't no wrong with you having no therapist. My therapist is like my best friend. I can call her morning, noon, and night. She'll answer that phone.
Okay.
Because mama can't always be there. Daddy ain't gonna always be there. You can't call them at 12 midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with having a therapist. They make you pour out and open up with things that you couldn't even imagine that you could have done. They give you those coping skills so that you won't lose your mind. Stop being afraid to educate yourself and read. There is a difference between HIV and AIDS. They're not the same.
Come on.
That's the biggest problem. Well, my thing is, before you point a finger or judge a book by its cover, when I tell somebody I'm an HIV advocate or I'm HIV positive, I'm still human. I got feelings. That don't mean your mind should go straight to, ugh. I've been around her. I've been touching her. I hugged her. I shook her hand. I played in her hair. So now I'm contagious. You don't even know you can't get it from me. I bet you don't even know you can't even get it from kissing.
Okay.
But that's the problem.
They don't know. They don't know. They out here lost. They don't know. They don't be wanting to listen.
But y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to read. We got to do better. We have to do better. That's why we're the number one leading. That's why we're leading with this situation right now.
Exactly.
That's a problem. Because nobody wants to talk and everybody's afraid to go get tested. And let me share this, because I've had somebody ask me before, you must never went to go get tested if you just went to go get tested just because you found out then from him. Baby, I was going regularly to make sure that I was good. Whether it was a pep smear, whether it was me going to make sure my breast was fine, whether it was to make sure that whatever it was, I was going regularly to the doctor. I was always saying my OBGYN, baby.
Right.
So please don't get it twisted as if I've never got a HIV testing. No, I was always getting it. Anytime I went and got a flu shot, I'm getting an HIV test too. or a meningitis shot.
Okay, look, I gotta see the
I want
doctor.
it all.
Test me up while you at it. Yeah.
Test me everything. You know, even now with me going to get blood work done, I get a shot on everything. They gonna make sure you are right.
Right.
Blood work in this arm, shots going in this arm. It's just gonna have to be a painful day for me. Only because I want to make sure I'm fine. Because when God do send me my husband, or God bless me enough to have a child or kid, they ain't gonna have no problems.
Right.
Because one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be open. You're gonna get these test results in your hand. You're gonna get them in a text message. Hell, you can go me to the doctor if you want to.
Right. Okay.
That's how open I am.
Yeah.
I want everybody to be on point at A1. So please,
But
y'all,
yeah.
get
Yes,
tested.
please
There's
go and
nothing
get
wrong.
tested. Yes.
I
And if y'all
promise you, there's
have
nothing wrong. It's
questions,
nothing.
yeah. If y'all have questions, go ahead. You could put them in the chat. We both can see the chat. So if y'all have any questions you want to ask while we are both here, please, please, please ask them. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. Yes, ask some questions. Make sure you guys share this out. Yes, hey to all Sequoia's friends.
I see family and friends. I
Oh,
love them. They're my biggest supporters.
yes, baby, they is showing all the love in these comments. They are absolutely. And then I'm over here.
Oh, and then for people who
on this app, they are loving you over
I don't
here.
put my phone on the floor, baby, because my phone been jumping too. It's on the floor. I have to go back to the phone later. But I do want to mention something.
My friend Kiana, she say that song will have you crying. The one you was talking about. She said that song will have you crying.
Not me. I play it every morning. Every morning.
Yeah, look. And it's so funny that you said it was a song, because let me tell you, the song that did it for me, that snapped me clean up out of everything I was dealing with, was Let Go. That song, Let Go and Let God. That song right there, listen.
That's a good one.
That song right there snapped me clean up out of it. And I had to say, you know what? I got to let go. Because I was holding on to all that stuff. Everything you was describing, the anger, the frustration, the questions, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it just takes that one moment when God really come to you and like, listen, I'm talking to you. You need to listen. Because we ain't listening. Right. Honestly, when we in that depression state, we ain't listening. So he had to get you in that moment and say, look, I'm here. I'm talking to you. This is what I want you to know. That's why that song jumped on repeat. Okay? That was not by mistake.
I was shook. I was like, wait a minute, huh? And the event that I told my story to for the first time, I actually did a praise dance to that song before I spoke.
Ooh.
Yeah, I set the tone, did that dance, and then I told the story, and everybody at the end was like, wow. Right. I mean, these jaws were like, I get it now. Yeah. That song makes a lot of sense. I get it. It was a connection. So that's why that song sits with me like really bad. And for other people who don't know, also, it has been 4 years for me. I am undetectable. I've been undetectable for the 4 years. So I know a lot of people be asking, well, what does that mean? What is undetectable? So it's just basically
get them.
All right. So it's basically I take a big Tarvy, which is just one pill a day, and it fights the infection of the HIV so that I don't, so it doesn't increase to full AIDS or anything of this sort. So it keeps me undetectable to where I don't, if I decide I want to have a partner or be with someone or have sexual encounters, they're not likely to get it. But there are also other meds that they have for your mate or your partner to take to prevent them from getting anything as well. That's why I say you got to educate yourself. You got to read.
Yes. Got to read. Reading is fundamental. Y'all know.
Is there
Oh yeah,
anything you would
Lenore
have done
says, "Is there
differently?
anything you would have done differently?"
Can you kind of break that down when it relates to what? I mean, just overall,
Yeah,
or yeah. I just want to make sure I
so
answer this question correctly.
okay, so even though it's her question, I'll break it down a little bit. So,
Okay.
well, of course, we know you guys had unprotected sex at some point, and I know you mentioned you are a person who gets tested. So, prior to you all having unprotected sex, was there a conversation you guys had like, "Let's go get tested," or "Have you been tested?" Like, was that ever a discussion with you two? And
There was a conversation that we did have, um, with both of us asking about like partners from the past, making sure we, didn't have any like STDs and things of that sort. And I actually had done recently had my yearly checkup and stuff. So I actually was good. So
right,
I didn't really have to go back until it was time again. And but for him, of course, again, you know, I guess that's where the lies came in. From my understanding, nobody he had been dealing with for a while, since the mother of his child. Um, he was good as far as getting his getting checked up, and that's just what I knew. I do
right,
remember, like, he did go to, well, at where we were dating, he did go to the doctor once, but it wasn't for like to go get no checkup or anything like that. I think he had went to go get a flu shot or something like that, because it was kind of like
right.
around the time where we knew something was gonna happen and everything, just to be precaution. And
Yeah,
that's just what it was. So as far as that, do I think the only thing I probably would have done differently was, I don't want to use the word, I would have been more aggressively with it, as far as asking him like,
right,
"Hey, let's go get this done. Let's do this." But I do feel like I probably could have asked a bit more, even asked for like, "Hey, let's just randomly go. Let me see your results, or
right.
let me see the paperwork. Email it to me, whatever.
Yeah,
Who's your doctor? Where do
yeah,
you go?" I might have asked a bit more with that, but
yeah,
overall,
yeah. Because
I'm
I think
here.
people,
I'm happy. I'm
yeah,
healthy. Good.
yeah. Because I think what happens is when when we're sharing our stories, I think what happens too is a lot of people, their thought process is, "Oh, you should have did this, and this," and I'm like, "Come on now." We not living in a fantasy world. This is not a story on TV that's made up. This is real life. Are you literally, seriously, always, all the time, requiring certain things from a person that you are saying you trust? Because sometimes, like, for example, when I'm trusting this man enough that I'm getting ready to marry him. So that means if I'm trusting you enough that I'm saying, yes, I'm finna marry you, that means I'm also trusting the words you're telling me. You're with a man and you're trusting this man because you had no reason to think that he was lying or deceiving you in any kind of way. So it's like you taking his word for it, and people sometimes don't understand that aspect of the situation. They just feel like, "Oh, well, you should have did this, and this." And I'm like, you got to really think about it. If you were in these shoes, would you really have done what you're trying to say? Probably not. How many of you are married right now and you and your partner have actually went and had STD testing done? You around here wondering why the doctor telling you you got BV, and you thinking it's your pH balance, and it's really your husband or your wife that's giving you the BV. So y'all really gotta wake up and really pay attention to that. It's not
And that's
always
where,
a cut and
exactly,
dry thing.
that's where the thing comes in also, with the pointing the finger, the judge in the book by its cover. That's what that comes in. That's why I try my best. I try not to use that phrase, but I have to. In that moment, or in those moments, as those days and those weeks are going by, you have just found out the most traumatic thing that you could have ever found out in your life, that someone you have put all your love and your trust in has done to you. What would you have done? What would you have done?
Exactly. Yep.
Wesley,
Yeah.
you cannot tell. I have had so many people within the 4 years that I have went through this, or this situation, have told me, baby, you a different kind of strong. Cause ain't no way. I probably would. I've had somebody tell me I would have killed myself a long time ago. Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah.
I've had someone tell me, girl, I couldn't walk a mile or even run a marathon in your shoes. Cause what the hell?
Right.
I've had someone tell me I'd have killed him and me on the spot.
Child, listen.
These are people out here.
Oh,
for real, that I've been counsel with, that I've talked to. I talk to people almost every day or every other week. Social media, inboxing me, DMing me, emailing me. Y'all don't have a clue.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, I done had to sit here and talk to tell somebody that to do something.
Yeah. And you get to asking all these questions. Where do you think in your mind you got time to ask all of this? After you found something out like that, and you just trying to, baby, I'm trying to find out my next move. What do I need to do?
Right.
I'm stuck.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they don't be thinking about that part of it. Look, somebody did ask a question too. Well, let me see. Katrina wanted to know, if you started dating someone and you go to the doctor and you get your yearly exam and the doctor calls and tells you that you're HIV positive, how would you go home and tell your mate? Child, listen.
Now let me tell y'all something.
Most of them ain't going home and telling they mate nothing, if you want to be honest.
Let's keep it real. Now, I ain't got the answer to everything, y'all. I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to use a scenario. I'm going to use an example. My therapist told me, let me tell you, I was on defense of this. When I first started talking to my therapist and I started kind of like opening up to her, the one thing that he told me was, I never forget, moving forward, if you decide that you want to date again, you have to tell the person that you are currently dating or talking to about your status.
Right.
Guess what my question was? What if they reject me? I've never, and I'm not saying this in no cocky way, 37 years I've been on this earth, and when I started dating at the age of 18, I ain't never been rejected by no guy.
Say it louder for the people in the back that don't get it, baby.
Hello? So, to hear her say something like that, imagine I'm sitting there going, I got to tell him what? That was going to be selfish on my part.
Right. Yeah.
I can't do that. Why would I do what the last person just did to me? That's not fair.
Right.
So I had to build up enough courage, enough self-esteem to be open and honest and say, hey, before we move forward or do anything going forward, I need to let you know something. I'm HIV positive. Yep. I have been for the past so-and-so. This is what happened. Is this something you're going to be able to deal with? Or is it too much for you? I'm giving niggas ultimatums at this point. I don't have a choice.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Twin, where have you been? Because listen.
I need to know. Because I don't want to be played. I don't want nobody playing in my face ever again. If it's too much, you go about your business. Thank you. Because one thing I don't like is my time wasted.
Get gone if you can't handle it. Exactly.
If you can handle it, all I ask is that you don't handle it just for right now. I need you to handle it all the way in the long run. Because if you waste my time with, I'm fine with it. But then 6 months from now, this is too much. We're gonna have a problem. That's why I ain't with nobody. Because it's more than what you telling me at this point. If the actions don't add up with what you saying, we have nothing to talk about.
Yep.
I can only say, Katrina, what would happen after that person tells their mate, that's just gonna have to be something that they're gonna have to be strong enough to handle. In all honesty, Katrina, because that's the biggest problem. We're not communicating. You have to think about if children are involved. You got to think about that. You cannot think about, do you want to be this selfish person for the rest of your life because you want honest and open with telling somebody what's going on with you? Is that the look you want to be? And they say don't never judge a book by its cover. Well, you making it hard if you can't be open and honest with me. So now I gotta read you from the outside.
Right. And if I got to read you too hard and too long,
So
yes. Whoo. Listen here. Baby, I am loving. Listen, we twins for real. Cause listen, I tell them the same thing. If you can't deal with this, then don't even attempt. Don't try. Like, no. Cause like you say, they definitely they'll be okay at the beginning. Then after a while, especially if you go out somewhere in public and somebody might know your status, but then they like, oh, you dating that person, and then they friends start looking at them funny. Then they like, oh well, this might not. Bye.
Because that's my thing. You want to be the one to tell it your story, or you want somebody else to tell it who gonna probably add extra and other stuff that probably ain't even got nothing to do with your story.
Right.
To make it either sound as worse as it already is, and make you even look worse. How you want to do it?
Yeah. Exactly. Child. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure there's no more questions. Oh, I did see a comment. Oh, Tracy said, even in a marriage, one may not be forthcoming, so you can be faithful not knowing the other person is not faithful. One can become infected by a spouse. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So listen, married does not mean you safe. Ain't nobody safe out here. Look, that don't mean nothing. Just because you got a wedding ring and a marriage license, that means nothing. Somebody said it is uncomfortable asking for those STD tests when you like them and trust them. Guess what? I wouldn't care how uncomfortable it is. If it's uncomfortable for them, like if you go to somebody and you say, hey, listen, I know you want to take it to the next step or whatever, but I want us to go and get tested before we do that, and they decline or they act a certain kind of way, then that means that you need to go find somebody else. That ain't the one you need to be laying down with, because why would they be uncomfortable?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Why they uncomfortable wanting to get tested?
If you feel like it's that uncomfortable, you need to be by yourself, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna tell you that.
Run for the hills.
I'm not gonna tell you that I'm just so perfect and I've never told a white lie or I've never been not been honest. But I mean, I've had my share. But moving forward, as you get older, y'all, there's no time frame or an expiration date or whatever on when God is ready to call you home.
Right.
Before I go, I need to make sure that he knows that I've done everything I've been obedient to everything that you have asked me to do. I ain't
Yeah.
leaving her until I know that when I do leave, there ain't gonna be nobody at that free. They're gonna say, that girl right there, she was too much. Now, if you're gonna say I'm too much, tell me in a good way. She was so much, baby. She set the bar high. She set the
Mm,
standard high. That thing right there wasn't nothing to play with.
okay.
She was transparent. She was open about her truth, about what she went through. Now, like I said, everybody ain't me.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
ain't me. So it's okay.
Mm-mm.
It don't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me, y'all. I just told y'all it took me a year.
Yeah.
I was toe up. For real, for real. So it is something that
Yep.
takes time. It definitely is. But my whole thing is you need a village. You need that support. You're gonna want that village. You're gonna want that support. Don't sit around up in that house like they losing your mind, like they holding stuff like that in.
Yeah. Yeah. Them four walls, baby. They ain't no joke. Mm-mm. Let's see. So Tracy asked another. Well, she said something else. If you are sexually active, you should be tested more than annually. Absolutely. So I usually tell people if you're sexually active, every time you have a new partner, you need to be getting tested before you and that person have sex. But it also needs to be in a time frame of 12 weeks after your last sexual encounter. Don't be going, listen, don't break up with somebody and y'all just had sex or whatever. And then you say, oh, well, I'm going to go get tested. Because guess what? Your test results for HIV are not going to be that accurate because you need to wait at least 12 weeks before you test for HIV.
Mm-hmm.
Because if in the event you contracted the virus, guess what? It's not more than likely at the minimum, maybe 10 weeks. But anytime before that, you're not going to get the most accurate results. So, yeah, anytime you get a new partner, you need to be having that person tested so you know their status. Don't take their word for it. Don't go based off of, well, I know I'm good, so they probably good. Nuh-uh. Don't do that. Yeah. Oh goodness. Anything else you want to add? I'm gonna check and make sure ain't no more questions. Um, anything I know you mentioned your books. I did put up your website so you guys can actually go and check out the website. Let me put it back up, experiencepopping.com. Go on there, check out the website. It is so that it's a cute website. I'm like, man, my website's so basic.
And look, listen,
Look, our website popping, okay?
the young lady who asked me to speak at her event when I first told my story in 2021, that's who did my website.
Well, she did an amazing job,
Yeah, she's a
baby.
graphic
The
designer. Yeah,
color
she
scheme and
did that.
everything. Yes, she did a great job. Um,
Absolutely.
yes. So make sure you guys go and check out the website. Make sure you guys also she has a book. And like we said, the stage play. Oh, tell them about because I know the I cried but I didn't quit. It's talk to them
Okay.
about that.
So I'm actually putting the website where you can purchase the book into the chat.
Okay. Yeah, because
And
I know.
so so this is
Oh,
gonna
here, let
be
me.
like you guys are gonna actually like this story on how I came with I cried but I didn't quit. So this was in February of this year. But I started putting it together around November of 23. I'm a coach, like I said. So myself and my aunt and my sister, we were all coming back from Russ College. We had did a parade. Um, And I was ready to take my braids down. And my aunt was like, y'all want to go eat when we get back to Memphis? And I was like, y'all, we got to hurry up. I said, I got to take these braids down. So they was like, we just going to go to Los Cabos in Bartlett. That's up the street from the crib. I said, oh, that's fine. I can do that. So long story short, y'all, we get there and we sit outside on the patio part. We order food, we get our drinks, we eat, whatever. By the time we finish, we call the lady, tell the lady to bring our checks. At the time, I'm sitting on this side of the table. My aunt is on the other side across from me of the table, and it's a rail. The rail goes all the way around because we're on the patio. And my sister is on this end of the table. There's a lady that's walking by. She was dressed real nice. But you could tell that she could have been like an evangelist or something. But she didn't have on like churchy outfits. So she come walking by. And she comes around and she leans on the rail. True story, y'all. And she looks at all three of us and she go, which one of y'all speak? So I'm sitting there like this. My sister, she kind of looking at her billfold to get her money out to pay for her ticket. My auntie looking like, I don't speak. So I raised my hand like, I'm scared. Like, it's the first day in class and I'm giving an answer. So I'm like, I said, me? She looked at me and she said, you about to get ready to have an event. Now, I told y'all I don't know this lady. This lady don't know us. She said, you getting ready to have an event. She said, wall to wall, sold out. And you finna tell your story. I sat back like this. I had chills running through my arms. My auntie, I look at her, she was already crying. My sister down there shocked. I just can't believe what the lady just said to me. So I'm looking at the lady and like, who is this? Like I saw a ghost. She said, I know why you're looking at me like that. She said, don't look at me like that. She said, see, this is what I do. She said, I'm an evangelist. She said, she said, I was coming up out of this restaurant. She said, and God spoke to me right here in this moment. And I need to come over here and say this to y'all because that's what he put on me to say. Her son was walking to the car. I'm looking at him and in my mind, I'm still going, why you came over here and got this lady? Because who is this lady? And she said, don't worry about my son. Don't look at him. He know this is what I do. Let him go to the truck. I said, okay. She said, what do you speak about? So I said, I tell my story and my testimony about how I got HIV, how I became HIV positive, and how I'm now an HIV advocate. She said, She said, okay, you've been telling your story at different places and events, but you ain't been telling it to enough people. She said, you about to get ready to speak to some people that's been having suicidal thoughts. By that time, I got up and I was doing this.
Child, yes.
Oh, I was gone. I was bawling in the face. My auntie said, shut up. She over there like this.
I don't even know your auntie, but I can hear the shut up. I can hear it.
Yeah. I'm sitting there like this. I can't sit down. I'm like, what you say, girl? Ma'am, this really for me? And she said, I want you to do something for me. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I want you to go home. She said, I want you to write it down. She said, write everything down. She said, write the vision down. She said, then I want you to pray over it, close the book up and put it away. I said, okay. She said, I know what you're thinking. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, if this lady tell me what I'm thinking, I'm gonna lose it.
It's about to be over. She tell you that, right?
She said, I know what you're thinking. I said, you do? She said, uh-huh. See, you worried about money. You want to know where the money gonna come from to put this event together. That should be your least concern. She said, do what I told you to do. Write it down, pray over it, and put it away. She said, what's your name? I said, Sequoia. She said, Sequoia what? I said, Sequoia Watson. She looked at me, she said, I'll be seeing you, Miss Sequoia Watson. And that lady walked off.
Woo. Mm.
Walked off.
Mm. And here
When I
we are.
tell
We
you,
seeing you, baby.
I got home that night. I made a long post about what happened. The next day, before I got off of Facebook, when I got off the social media, I got the book, like she said, still in my purse to this day. And I wrote down Sequoia event because I had came up with a name. I said, look for a venue, caterer, DJ. I just started writing everything down. And when I closed the book, I said, Lord, I'm trusting in you and I'm putting it all in your hands. That's all I said. And I put the book back into my purse. The next day, I got a phone call. Sequoia, hey, I saw your post on Facebook last night. I want to offer my venue for free. I was like, say what?
Mm.
The
Yeah,
next call.
right.
Sequoia, I saw your post on Facebook. You need a DJ? I got you for free.
Blessings on
The next
blessings on
call.
blessings.
The co-worker that I was working with at the time when I was working at the high school. You got a caterer? I said, no, I ain't got that far. I ain't been thinking that far. I've been just trying to scratch off little things here and
Gotcha.
there.
Gotcha.
You got a caterer. All I need to know is what you want
Mm.
on your menu for free.
Mm.
Another one. You need a
Man.
photo booth? I got it. I got the photo booth for free. I mean, everything.
Ooh, child.
You got a balloon arch?
Yes.
I got it for free.
Mm.
Everything. Everything. I didn't spend a dime. As I kept going, my auntie was calling. What you need? I'll make the payments. I'll make sure all of them will be sitting on their plates when they come in. My cousin, I get the
Ooh.
little gifts when you do the raffle. I do the everybody was coming out to work. I got this, I got that. You better not
Mm.
lift a finger.
Mm. And all you had to do was write it down.
That was it.
Mm.
Once my god sister called me and said, "Come on, we need to put these tickets on sale." I said, "Well, I ain't came up with a name yet. I got to think on this. I got to think." I was thinking, like I was thinking for 40 days and 40 nights. And I came up with it. I cried, but I didn't quit.
Mm.
And that is
Man.
what my event was called this past February. I had over 200 and like
Ooh.
10 people in that room. And it was wall to wall. I didn't sell out
Wow.
once. I didn't sell out twice. I sold out 3 times.
Look at you.
Shocked. And as I was at the event, when I told everybody how this came about, everybody was looking at the door. And I kept saying, why y'all keep turning around looking at the door? They said, because we just waiting to see if the lady gonna pop up. I wanted the
Right,
lady to pop
because
up.
at this point,
I was looking
baby,
for her. I ain't
right,
never been
like,
one that didn't really believe in angels, but I kept telling them, I said, y'all, that lady was sent to me for a reason. That lady's my guardian angel. I said, I
okay,
wanted that lady to be at this. I wanted her to be in my event. I wanted her to pop up and say, didn't I tell you I was going to see you, Sequoia? But the fact that she visioned this and told me what to do and it happened, that was enough for me. But if I had saw that lady walk in that building on the day of my event, I would have fell out.
baby, you would have been on the floor.
I'd have been on the floor. I would have been on the floor.
Yes.
So that's how I also came up with next year when I do my stage play, it's gonna be I Cried But I Didn't Quit. And I also have a friend who does producing. He produces movies and stuff because I'm getting into acting now. He's also going to he's looking into he wants to do a movie of my story. I cried but I didn't quit. So I got some things going on in 2025.
Ooh, child. Well, I definitely listen because whenever that play come, I'm gonna need to be in the building. I need to be sitting there. Listen, I'm gonna be there. If me and these kids got to load up in the car and come where we got to come, I'm coming. Okay.
Y'all come on now. Come on
Look,
through now. The more the
listen,
merrier.
because
Come through.
I can't wait. When I was reading your Facebook page, I was like, oh, for real? I was reading, I was like, oh yeah. Yes, I gotta be wherever all this is happening.
Ready. I'm ready. I am ready.
Yes. Well, look, I am not gonna hold you any longer. I had an amazing time talking to you and learning some things. I know everybody else, like they are loving you in these chats and these comments. Even on the
Thank
other app I'm on
y'all.
Chatter, they're watching via YouTube. They are loving it. Um,
I need that
listen.
YouTube channel so I can make sure I go see these comments.
Yes, I'll make sure I send you
I
the
want to
link
tune
as
in
well.
everywhere.
Yeah, so I just let everybody know where they can find you on social media. I know we put the website out there, but I know you're on Facebook and a couple other platforms. So go ahead and let them know real quick, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Okay, so I am on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook. It is Sequoia Watson. You spell my name Sequoia, last name Watson. I do also have an Instagram. I have two pages. I have my dance page and then my stop. I'm sorry, I'm talking to my dog. And also my other page that I do a lot of my promoting and things on there. That page is called Pieces of Shantae. So that's PIECES underscore of underscore Shantae. And my Shantae is spelled SHAUNTA. And then my other Instagram page is Poppin' and Pumps. That is my dance page. I do host classes. So if you guys ever want to book a class, book a one-on-one, a birthday class. If I got anybody that's getting married and want to do a nice, cute dance for their husband to be, even the grooms or the bridesmaids and the grooms or the whole wedding party, I do choreograph weddings. Okay, so you guys can visit the website experiencepoppin.com. I called it there because you get a whole experience from me, baby. Okay.
Woo,
I
child.
do also have a TikTok. I do a lot of dancing and stuff and the acting stuff on my
And
TikTok,
where are
baby.
you
But if you want
physically
to talk
located?
to
Are
me,
you what city and state
I
are you in?
I am in Memphis, Tennessee. I am
Woo,
here in
okay.
Memphis, Tennessee.
M10, okay.
Right. So somebody said put it in the chat. So Facebook. Sorry. Let the people know. IG is Pieces of Shantae.
Okay. Look, and you over there talking to the dog, and I'm over here trying to keep the kids out from yelling. Look, and
I
the
got two
dog.
dogs, so
Oh,
ah, somebody said they
look,
need to
it's
learn
like
how to
at a
twerk.
certain
It's
time
so
of night,
funny.
they just gotta go wow, right? I'm like, y'all need to be.
Yeah.
Y'all have a full day. What's wrong? But I definitely appreciate you. It's in the chat. So the Facebook, Sequoia Watson, the IG, pieces _of _Shantae, and it's SHAUNTA.
Mm-hmm.
And Poppin Pumps, POPPIN
Yep.
And
Yeah, because a lot of
then
people, I tell a lot of people, you
TikTok.
have to leave that G off.
Yeah, leave the G out because you're gonna get the wrong thing if you put the G. And then
Please.
TikTok is the Poppin' Pumps Shantae as well. So all of that is in the chat, so they should be able to see that on YouTube and Facebook. And if anybody is watching on Twitter, I know I saw a couple people. There go my friend Diana the Giraffe. She's over there on X, aka Twitter, right now. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi.
Look, she's over in the UK, so you have someone over in the UK watching you right now. Okay. Yes.
Hi. Oh, that is
Well,
so
we worldwide
awesome.
around here. We
I had
worldwide.
somebody in
Okay.
Iraq before they claimed they tuned in. I was like, oh, Jesus. I love it.
Yes. So I definitely appreciate you coming on here. We're gonna talk some more. Not tonight, girl, because I'm old and it's my bedtime. Okay. But we definitely are gonna reconnect, connect more
Definitely.
offline and
Oh, hey,
because
from
now
New
you
Jersey.
listen, you motivating me over here. I'm over here pumped up. I'm right. I'm like Ali ready to jump in the ring on some stuff. Okay. So definitely, we are gonna get it. I love you, and I thank you for coming on here and doing this
Thank
interview
you.
with
Thank you for
me.
having me. I'm so
Yes,
honored.
yes. Look, cause I look, I'm over here with goosebumps. Y'all just have no idea, how it feels to know that you are not alone. That there's somebody else out here that knows what you have been through. Because sometimes we feel alone through these situations. There are people who have this diagnosis, they ain't told nobody. They dealing with it on themselves. So for people to be able to see you and I sharing this, talking about it so openly, not having no fear of what somebody else has to say, like it just gives me goosebumps that we have been able to come to this point. Especially like I'm 17, I'm almost 17 years diagnosed, baby. You 4 years. There are some people 4 years diagnosed that ain't nowhere near where you are at. So when somebody
No,
told
I
you
know
that
it.
you are strong, listen, ox strong, baby, strong as an ox around here. I
I
commend
know
you
it.
so much because I've seen
Thank you.
people way far past 4 years diagnosed and they are nowhere near where you are at. So being the motivation that you are to so many people, I take my hat off to you. Okay, for sure. Do not stop, don't quit, keep going.
No, ma'am.
And listen, I'm literally like in just such awe right now. That's why I say I purposely did not want to know too much of your story because I needed to get this shock value in me,
Like
you
everybody
know.
else, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to know too much. That's why you saw me sit on here like, wait a minute, listen, my face is be telling it all. So thank you so much, and thank everybody for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. We are going to get out of here. I'm going to end live, but I want you to stay put. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to end it, but stay put. Okay. Thank you
Okay.
guys so much for tuning in. I will be back next week. Next week, let me see. Oh, my girl, Kat, listen. Oh, baby. You thought y'all listen. I got some powerhouses coming on here, okay? Um, Y'all just heard Sequoia. I got my girl Kat next week. Kat is someone who actually was following me for a while. Okay. And one day she just came to me and she was like, I think I'm ready to share my story. And she just started doing it. And I walked into, before I moved from Jacksonville, I walked into the doctor office and she was like, hey, Lady Bird. And I'm like, what? Like she in there working. She's a peer advocate. She is doing all this amazing stuff in the community. Like she's out here sharing her story, helping others. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that. So she's gonna be on next week, next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And she's gonna share her story of how she became diagnosed. And she's gonna wow y'all to listen. we it's some powerful people out here in this world, and can't wait for y'all to continue to meet some more people. All right, let's get out of here. Bye, you guys. See you next week.